about $1 billion of new taxes, fee increases, and collections going to pay for Illinois' largest spending plan in state history at $55.2 billion. It's a plan they passed in the final hours of spring session, and it's going to be on the governor's desk soon for the fiscal year that starts July 1st. So a lot of these changes that are going to happen that we'll review today here begin July 1st. Good morning. I'm Greg Bishop. This is Illinois in Focus Daily. We're here each and every weekday morning live with you, where you can check out the live chat. Pretty lively group there every morning at 8, but you can also get segments of the show by subscribing to the Center Square on YouTube. You can also see news clips of stuff we talk about here, but also from across the country and over in Washington, D.C., and get that newsletter at thecentersquare.com. So I'm doing this segment really as kind of just looking at some of the comments and you guys out there wanting to see what's in the budget. And it's a 3,300-page document. I mean, it's pretty expansive. Let me pull it up here. This is what it actually looks like in PDF form. So this again is the budget. It's what's going to be spending your tax dollars. The language in law that says give this money to this group. So let's go ahead and pull this up. This is we'll do a little bit of kind of an understanding here. This is the 104th at the top. You see that 104. That's the 104th General Assembly. This is Senate Bill SB 2508. Senate Amendment 1. Now, I think they did have a couple of other amendments that were just minor technical things they had to clean up. But if you go through this, you can do a Control F, and let's just look up chamber, because I know the chambers of commerce across the state are getting a lot of money. So again, this is an act concerning appropriations. It's 3,300 pages long, and there's 79 instances of chambers of commerce. So like the Little Village Chamber of Commerce getting $250,000, Englewood Chamber of Commerce getting $1 million, and these are different types of programs. And what you can do is when you find that line item, then you have to scroll up. So Englewood's Chamber of Commerce is getting $1 million. What are they getting $1 million for? And you can see all of these different taxing bodies and non-taxing bodies, like the chambers of commerce, for instance. You keep scrolling up, and this is $33 or $35 million being appropriated through the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for grants and administrative expenses associated with public safety and economic development. So that's what they're getting for public safety and economic development. So we can go through this 3,300-page document right now, or you can go to my X account and find my post from May 30th where I break down some of what's in there. All right. So you've got a lot of different appropriations bills. For instance, Arts Alive in Chicago set to get more than $500,000 for costs associated with the purchase and development of a Northwest Side Performing Arts Center. $500,000 there. $4 million for Boys and Girls Club Alliance, other boys and girls clubs across the state getting various funds. $500,000 for Chicago's. Elgin's is getting $1 million. And it goes on from there. More funding in the budget for the Carter Temple Community Development Corporation, $2 million. And that's a reappropriation, but it's still in the budget. Catholic Charities getting $20 million, also reappropriated. Multiple lines for the Chatham Business Association totaling $2.2 million. You've got reappropriations for the Chicago Zoological Society, $40 million for Brookfield Zoo, another $20 million in capital improvements, reappropriations. Coalition for a Better Chinese Community getting $280,000 and a $5 million reappropriation for construction of an industrial kitchen facility and a child care center. So $5 million earmarked for that. Chinese American Services League gets reappropriations of $250,000 for window replacements. Again, you can just go through this and find all the Cup of Joe coffee. Not sure about that. $1.5 million. It's a reappropriation for costs associated with the purchase and renovation of a facility in Chicago. Dion's Chicago Dream. It's a sports team getting a reappropriation of $1 million for costs associated with capital improvements. You may have seen headlines that a school in Speaker Welch's district is getting $40 million. Back to the chambers of commerce, a lot of different chambers of commerce getting money. I mean, look at all the South Asian American Chamber of Commerce, $250,000, Little Village, $250,000, Logan Square, $250,000. The Greater Inglewood Chamber of Commerce, $500,000. Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce for job training, $1.5 million. So all of these different, and again, chambers of commerce are nonprofits. They are not government entities. So do yourself a favor, go through that list and pull up this document. It's, again, linked on my X account, and you can go through it yourself and see all the different line items and what those monies are spent for, what they're being appropriated for, and so on. But something else I wanted to do as well is not just look at what's in the budget, but what's in the tax increase bill, because there's a lot there. This is from a Senate Executive Committee that happened late Saturday night as they're getting ready to approach the midnight deadline. The revenue package was filed like 5 hours before midnight, so it came together pretty quick. And in the Senate Executive Committee, State Senator Selena Villanueva debating or answering questions from State Senator Don DeWitt, she said that there's a lot in this revenue package for legislators to consider in a handful of hours. And let me make sure I fix the rate here so it's not in chipmunk mode. I know some of you like chipmunk mode, but that just helps me quick slice and dice these segments together. So here we go.
I think about 43, 44 different items, and they're broken out into several different things. Revenue sources, technical changes, and also business development, tax credits, and cleanups that we have worked on with the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. I can be more specific and going into individual ones, but I won't bore you with a long list, as I think you all have the list in terms of your inside your analysis, but I'm here to answer questions from the committee.
And again, they just got this multi-thousand page package of the tax increases, the fee increases, and the corporate tax changes plopped on them, and the staff had to go through and find out what's in this bill and to get an analysis to their members so they can know what's going on in it. Did anybody actually read it? I think that's a question that I didn't really hear asked too much in the final hours of session, but so let's go through it. 40 plus changes. One of them, a change in sports betting taxes. So if you are a bettor on sports, you're going to probably be paying more.
Sure. For the first 20 million sports bets placed each year, the state will charge about 25 cents per bet. This applies to certain types of bet called Tier 1 and Tier 2 wagers. And after those first 20 million bets, the fee goes up to 50 cents per bet. All of the money collected from these fees go into the sports wagering fund, and then it's transferred to the general revenue fund.
So sports betting going up in taxes, increased fines and fees for environmental issues. And it's interesting how this was presented in committee.
Sure. Senator, so the EPA penalties and pollution board control fees, which is what I'm assuming you're talking about, it's basically positive fiscal support for the Illinois EPA and the PCB. And from my understanding, it's just technical changes.
Just technical changes, but it's in a revenue package, DeWitt said. It's got to be increasing revenue somehow.
It's to allow them to increase the fee through rules.
So it will increase fees. It has an attached increase per year tied to, I believe, COLA or CPI maybe. So it's going to be an increased revenue item every year. Hotel fees are expanding in this bill. So you pay a pretty tax whenever you go stay at a hotel. Now that's going to be expanded to all different types of rentals that can tax you if you rent that property for a spell.
Okay, which is usually applied to hotel stays, is being expanded to include short-term rentals like those booked through Airbnb, Vrbo, and other similar platforms. And that just means that short-term rental companies will now have to collect and pay the same tax that hotels do. Airbnb already does this and has advocated for it. And we're estimating about $5 million to GRF and $5 million to OSF.
So again, we're going through the revenue package that was ultimately brought to the floor and passed to pay for the state's largest spending plan at $55.2 billion. So we've already heard about an increase in environmental fees, an increase in sports wagering taxes, an expansion of hotel taxes to hit things like Airbnb or similar types of operations. What about a tobacco tax?
No worries, that's what I'm here for.
Tobacco Product Tax Act harmonization. What song are we singing and how much money is it going to raise?
Sure. This is going to be raising the tax on tobacco products from 36% to 45% of the wholesale price. It includes vapes and moist snuff, so that all tobacco-related products are taxed at about the same rate. And about 5 million of the taxes generated would go to the tobacco settlement recovery fund. After that, half of the remaining money will go into 2 Medicaid funds.
So they're increasing tobacco taxes from 30 some odd percent to 45%. And that's including things like snuff, salt, nicotine salts, anything that has nicotine or is tobacco related. It's going to have a 45% tax on it now. There's also increased cell phone taxes. Yes, you've got a cell phone. You're going to be paying a higher tax on that.
It will be increasing the telecommunications tax, which you now pay on your phone or similar services, from 7% to 8.65%. That extra 1.65% is expected to bring about $49 million in the first year. And the money breakdown basically will go like this. 57.7% will go to the general revenue fund, 11.6% will go to the common school fund for public education, 11.6 will go to the state infrastructure fund. 19.1 will go to the new 988 trust fund for suicide prevention. And again, only the extra money from the tax increase will go to the new trust fund. No existing funding for other programs will be cut or changed.
So you're going to be paying more for tobacco products, yes, including nicotine gum. You're going to be paying more for your cell phone. Retailers are going to have to figure out their tax situation and probably paying a tax attorney a little bit more money so they can figure out how to deal with whether or not they owe the state of Illinois any money. Here's a change in how retailers, especially out of states, are going to be impacted.
Yes, if a business outside of Illinois sells about $100,000 or more worth of physical goods to people in Illinois, it has to collect Illinois sales tax, even if it doesn't have a store in the state of Illinois. Also, online platforms like Amazon or Etsy that sell $100,000 or more worth of goods to Illinois customers are treated as the seller and must collect and send in the sales tax for every item sold through their site.
And yes, even nicotine pouches are going to be taxed as well. The nicotine salts. Anyway, so more corporate changes, more changes to how consumers are interacting with their cell phones if they're doing sports betting, but even more changes coming to corporations as well. And this idea of a Finnegan rule versus a Joyce rule, and then you start really understanding how tough it is to be a business when you've got these different types of tax schemes and structures that are being set up across the country in different states.
So if one company in the group sells into Illinois but doesn't have any employees, offices, or other presence there, Illinois can't tax those sales. Under Finnegan, any company in a group that does business in a state, then all sales made by any company in the group to that state are taxable, even if the company making the sale has no presence there. So the whole corporate group is treated like one taxpayer. This means more of their income can be taxed. Illinois currently uses the Joyce rule, which results in lower corporate taxes. And if the state switches to the Finnegan rule, it would collect more corporate tax money.
What's the projected income? My fear is that could have the potential of limiting corporations to even wanting to come to Illinois and doing business.
The projection is about 72 million GRF.
So again, these corporate changes already signaling a flag to some, saying it's just going to be more of the same for corporations in Illinois. They already pay among the highest taxes in the state. Property taxes are out of control. Nothing was done about that. You can just go through the bullet points of all of the extra costs on corporations in Illinois. And what that does is it, according to Republicans and some economists, it limits that corporation's willingness to invest in the states, therefore not creating more jobs. And they may go to Indiana or Missouri or Kentucky or other neighboring states. So those changes are coming as part of this budget. And then you get into another tax that was talked about, how broad of a tax it would have been, an ad tax, a digital ad tax. But this one, as it was proposed in committee before it passed, deals with the likes of Google.
It creates a 10% tax on digital advertising revenue, but only for companies making more than $150 million a year from those ads. And it targets large tech companies like Google or Meta, similar to Maryland's digital ad tax, which is under legal challenge. And so our reasoning is that for January 1, 2027 starting date, There's currently pending litigation in Maryland on their digital ad tax, and a start date in 2027 allows the pending litigation time to settle and allows Illinois to make necessary amendments to abide by the results of the litigation.
Great, appreciate that.
Lots of taxes,
Heading to the
lots of
chase.
changes, and it's all to pay for the state's most expensive spending plan in state history. Just continues to go up and up and up and up and up, all during the Pritzker administration, with more taxes to go around. That is going to be on the governor's desk soon. The budget bill, the tax increase bill, the budget implementation bill that also gives legislators an annual raise, so they didn't freeze that raise for legislators. That could be $5,000+ of increases. So you've got all that in the mix. It's on the going to be heading soon to Governor J.B. Pritzker, who expected to sign it. We'll see what happens in the days ahead. If you want to stay up to date, it's right here with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop, editor for Illinois. I'm on the ground at the Capitol when they're in session, bringing you the latest and tracking all of this so that you can get on with your day and be informed as to what's going on at your state house.